In a world buzzing with notifications, deadlines, and pressures to perform, where social media feeds tell us who we should be, there's a quite primal voice within each one of us, whispering to break free, to run wild, to reclaim our true selves. As we navigate the chaos of AI-driven lives, climate anxieties, and the relentless hustle of hyper-connected world, that voice feels more vital than ever. Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, a tapestry of ancient myths, fairy tales, and Jungian wisdom that calls us back to the wild woman, the fierce, instinctual, creative force buried beneath layers of expectation. Through stories like La Loba, who sings bones to life, or Seal Women, who reclaims her soul's skin, Estes reminds us that our wildness isn't lost, it's waiting to be unearthed. Today, as we grapple with burnout, identity wars, and a longing for authentic connection, this book isn't just a guide, it's a revolution, inviting us to howl, to heal, and to rediscover the untamed spirit that makes us whole. This book is a collection of essays, each centered on a myth, fairy tale, or folk tale that explores aspects of the wild woman, archetype, and women's psychological and spiritual journeys. The key insights from each of these essays is as follows. Chapter 1: The Wolf's Eyelashes. Women have been disconnected from their wildness due to societal domestication. Reclaiming it involves trusting intuition, embracing creativity, and rejecting oppressive norms. Chapter 2: The Howl, Resurrection of the Wild Women. The howl represents a woman's authentic expression, anger, joy, or grief that society often silences. Reclaiming it is an act of rebellion and healing. Chapter 3: Stalking the Intruder. In the beginning, initiation. Bluebeard represents destructive forces that women must confront. This essay explores naivety, curiosity, and the power of intuition to uncover danger. Chapter 4: The Doll in Her Pocket. The doll symbolizes intuition and ancestral wisdom. Baba Yaga represents the initiation into maturity, teaching women to face fear, set boundaries, and claim power. Chapter 5: The Red Shoe. The shoe represents societal pressures or addictions that disconnect women from their authentic selves. Healing involves reclaiming one's true desires and rejecting external control. Karen represents the naive or wounded psyche, vulnerable to external pressures or inner compulsions that disconnect her from her instinct. The red shoe symbolizes societal expectations, vanity, or addictive behaviors that lure women away from their authentic selves. This chart traces Karen's psychological journey, with the y-axis representing the intensity of her experience, example, emotional or psychological strain, and the x-axis showing the stages Estes highlights. Naivety, that is initial innocence. Temptation, that is desire for the shoes. Compulsion, uncontrollable dance. Suffering, pain and regret. Liberation, breaking free. And redemption, reclaiming authenticity. The line peaks at suffering, reflecting the crisis point before descending towards healing. Chapter 6: The Handless Maiden, the Healing Journey. The maiden represents the wounded psyche, stripped of agency or creativity due to betrayal or trauma. The hands symbolize the ability to act, create, and shape one's life. Their loss reflects disempowerment. Their regrowth signifies healing. The devil represents destructive forces that can be external or internal. External, such as betrayal by family, society, or internal, such as self-sabotage or shame. This chart traces the maiden's psychological journey, with the y-axis representing the intensity of her emotional experience, such as pain or hope, and x-axis showing the stages Estes highlights, that is, betrayal, loss, wandering, solitude, restoration, and wholeness. The line peaks at loss, reflecting the crisis point before gradually descending towards healing. Chapter 7: The Ugly Duckling, Finding the True Self. This essay explores feelings of alienation and the journey to self-acceptance. Women often feel like outsiders but can find belonging by embracing their unique identity. The ugly duckling represents the individual who feels like an outsider, struggling with self-worth due to external rejection or internal doubt. Again, the chart traces the duckling's psychological journey, with the y-axis representing the intensity of emotional experience and x-axis showing Estes highlights such as alienation, rejection, wandering, hardship, and then self-discovery, and lastly, self-belonging. The line peaks at hardship, reflecting the crisis point before descending towards acceptance. Chapter 8: Skeletal Woman, the Life or Death or Life Cycle. This essay explores the natural cycles of life, death, and rebirth in relationships and personal growth, embracing the skeleton, that is, fear and vulnerability that leads to transformation. Skeletal Woman represents the raw, vulnerable, or dead aspects of the psyche, grief, loss, or unloved parts that must be faced for transformation. This chart traces the psychological and emotional journey of the skeletal women, with the y-axis representing the intensity of emotional experience and the x-axis showing stages Estes highlights, that is, encounter, acceptance, compassion, transformation, and then connection. The line peaks at fear, reflecting the crisis point before descending towards healing and unity. Chapter 9: La Loba, the Bone Woman. La Loba represents the power to resurrect what has been lost, creativity, passion, or vitality. Women are urged to gather their bones, that is, inner truths, and bring them to life. It represents the wild women archetype, a wise, instinctual, and creative force that restores what has been lost or forgotten. The stages of resurrection involves following, that is, loss, gathering, assembling, singing, revival, and freedom. The line peaks at singing, reflecting the transformative act before descending towards liberation. Chapter 10: The Little Match Girl, the Danger of Numbing. The match girl represents the wounded or neglected psyche, vulnerable to numbing or escapism due to suffering or lack of support. The essay aims to warn women about the dangers of numbing pain through fantasy, denial, or destructive habits, and to encourage them to face suffering, seek support, and nurture the wild women vitality. It offers a compassionate call to choose life over escapism. The stages of Little Match Girl's tragic journey includes suffering, numbing, visions, escapism, isolation, and then death. The line peaks at death, reflecting the tragic outcomes of numbing. Chapter 11: The Crescent Moon Bear, Rage and Forgiveness. Rage is a natural response to violation, but it must be expressed constructively. Forgiveness comes through understanding, not suppression. The crescent moon bear represents raw, instinctual rage, a powerful force that is both dangerous and sacred, requiring respect and understanding. The essay aims to validate women's rage as a natural response to violation and to guide them through the process of channeling it constructively towards healing and forgiveness. This chart represents the crescent moon bear's journey of rage, beginning with rage, quest, observation, respect, transformation, and forgiveness. The line peaks at rage, reflecting the initial intensity before descending towards resolution. Chapter 12: The Snow Queen, The Frozen Heart. This essay addresses emotional numbness and disconnection, urging women to thaw their hearts through love, persistence, and inner warmth. The Snow Queen represents forces that induce emotional coldness, trauma, societal conditioning, or internalized pain. Emotional coldness is a common response to pain, but recognizing it is the first step towards healing. Compassion for oneself and others can thaw even the most frozen hearts, restoring vitality. Overcoming numbness requires sustained efforts. Societal pressures that demand emotional restraint must be challenged by reclaiming the wild woman's warmth. Community and relationships play a vital role in healing disconnection. This chart represents the psychological and the emotional journey by which one thaws the frozen heart. That is, numbness, quest, trial, persistence, compassion, and thawing. The line peaks at trials, reflecting the challenges before descending towards resolution. Chapter 13. Seal Women. The essay aims to guide women through the process of recognizing when their instinctual nature has been lost or suppressed, and to encourage them to reclaim their soul skin through intentional acts of self-nurturing and boundary setting. The Selkie represents the wild instinctual self, capable of freedom and vitality, but vulnerable to suppression. The soul's seal skin symbolizes the soul skin, the authentic essence that connects a woman to her instincts and vitality. Stages of seal women's journey to wild includes loss, depletion, longing, discovery, reclamation, and freedom. The line peaks at depletion, reflecting the crisis point before descending towards liberation, that is freedom. Chapter 14. La Llorona, the Weeping Women. This explores grief, guilt, and the need to heal from self-inflicted wounds or societal judgments. La Llorona represent wounded psyche consumed by grief, guilt, or longing related to the mother and the child bond. The essay aims to guide women through the process of healing wounds in the mother-child relationship, whether they feel guilty as mothers or pain as children. It encourages readers to confront grief, seek self-forgiveness or understanding, and channel pain into creative or nurturing acts to reconnect with the wild women. And the stages through which one can achieve that includes grief, guilt, expression, self-forgiveness, transformation, and healing. The line peaks at guilt, reflecting this crisis point before descending towards resolution or healing. The last chapter, The Girl and the Wolves. Wolves represent the wild community that supports women. This essay explores balancing solitude with connections to others. The girl represents the psyche seeking belonging and authenticity, often feeling alienated in a conformist world. The wolves symbolizes the wild women archetype, instinctual, loyal, and communal, representing the ideal's community that honors wildness. This essay aims to inspire women to seek or create communities that honor their wild, instinctual selves, emphasizing the strength found in connection with others who share their values. It would teach readers to trust their instincts, to find their true pack, and draw on collective power to navigate life's challenges. And the stages through which it can be achieved includes isolation, wandering, encounter, learning, collaboration, and finally belonging. The line peaks at wandering, reflecting the uncertainty before descending towards connection. This brings me to the end of the book, but certainly not the complexities that we encounter day in and day out. In a world where algorithms try to define us and societal pressures threaten to tame us, these essays remind us that our strength lies in our instinct, our creativity, and the courage to heal. These aren't just ancient myths, they are mirrors reflecting our struggles with overwork, our yearning for community, and our fight to stay true in a filtered age. So, as you step back into the world, listen for the howl of your wild women, reclaim your soul skin through a quiet walk in nature, a bold act of self expression, or a moment of raw, honest grief. Build your pack, those who see your wildness and cheer it on. In this fractured, fast paced world, let's run with the wolves, not from them, weaving our stories into a tapestry of resilience and freedom. The wild is calling.